guys, I'm Celeste, and we're here at the UNM campus to get people's opinion on a couple things. In Matthew 18, Jesus said, "Unless you become like a little child, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven." Let's find out what some people here at UNM think Jesus is really saying. So in talking about kids, what are some of the characteristics you like about kids?
They have an open heart and they're kind of innocent.
What are some of the characteristics you like about kids?
Definitely their innocence. It's something that so many people lose as they grow up, and it's something that I think that we should treasure more.
I like how they're innocent and carefree and kind of naive about the world, like whole innocence thing.
They're full of life and they're fun and they don't have to worry about anything. They're just free.
Simple and free, right?
Yeah. I think adults have learned how to be fearful, and I feel like they've also learned how to be self-conscious, whereas kids, no matter what they're doing, no matter how other people would judge them, they're still kind of innocent of that judgment.
What do you think people are talking about when they say a kid at heart?
A kid at heart, innocent. I mean, they're not biased, they're not cynical. I mean, they're not going to be like Republican or Democrat. They're just like unbiased and innocent.
So we all start off that way, right?
Yeah, like, not corrupted, I guess. Whatever the opposite of corrupted is.
I think that when they're talking about a kid at heart is like somebody that would be like relaxed and not judgmental, because kids aren't judgmental.
That you're fun-loving, you have an open mind, and you like to explore things. I don't know.
A dictionary defines humility as a quality of being humble, of modest opinion or estimate of one's own importance. Do you think that's something a trait that kids have?
Not necessarily being humble, but I don't know. They tend to care about others, but the kids are kind of, self-focused also, so most kids.
Would you say that kids kind of exhibit a sense of humility?
Yeah.
Yeah?
In its purest form.
Would you say humility is a common trait in our culture?
I think it's a common trait that is strived for in some areas, but in most places I don't think it is anymore.
No, I think that there's a lot of false humility, and I think there's a really big difference between false humility and real humility.
I honestly think that humility is something that a lot of people need to work on, including myself, that we're, especially with our society in America, that we're like driven to go for what like makes us feel better and everything about us, and we're not humble at all.
Would you say that's a common trait in our culture?
I think it's something we would like to, but on many occasions it's not, just because there's also a lot of other stuff that we have in our culture, and it sometimes clouds what that is.
American culture, I don't think that humility is a trait. I don't think that it's portrayed, and I don't think it's necessarily respected necessarily.
Would you say humility is a common trait in our culture?
Yeah, I think that we're all born with it, and I think that most people do have it, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. How would you define humility?
Probably not the right way. I don't know. I see it as being humble, compassionate, good.
No. I think pride is more common, even though it's not better. I think that Americans are driven by pride rather than humility, and well, you can see what it's done.
In Matthew 18, Jesus said that whoever humbles himself like a child will be greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Why would you think that humility is so important to Jesus?
Well, because if Humility, I mean, it doesn't make you think you're better than other people. You think that's like the key of making sure everyone's equal. I mean, if you think you're better than somebody, that means you're right and they're wrong, and that can lead to difficulties down the road.
Jesus said that whoever humbles himself like a child will be the greatest in heaven. Why would you think humility would be so important to Jesus?
I think because you are not making yourself the important thing, and you're seeing the world for the greater, picture, the bigger picture.
Because there isn't room for pride or thinking only about yourself. I feel like when you're humble, you are caring for others, you are involved in the world around you rather than so conscious of your own presentation of who you are.
I think that humility is important to Jesus because without humility, we can't truly give ourselves up to him.
Because Jesus is the one way to heaven and we can't rely on ourselves, so therefore we have to be humble and we have to accept him and admit that there's no other way but him and there's nothing we can do about it to save ourselves.
So that being said, what do you think Jesus would have to say to our culture today?
Wow. We need to fix a lot of things. We need to realize that we can't do anything to save ourselves, and our culture is so concerned with me. It's all about us, and it's all about fashion and all about music and things that are really irrelevant to what really matters and Christ. And I think our culture needs to be humbled.
I think he'd tell us to be kinder, to just stop and be aware and be compassionate. And I think he'd be heartbroken because I feel like so many people even say they're so compassionate. They say that they give to their neighbors and they love their brother, but they don't.
What do you think Jesus would have to say to our culture today?
That we take the Bible too literally, and we are a lot of times hypocritical. If Jesus was real, that we're hypocritical in the sense that he was a peace-loving sort of hippie type of guy, and generally society kind of hates on people like that.
He would be sad. I think that we're not as driven by his word and by what he wanted than we are by advertisements and everything like that, television.
That we need to be smacked and learn how to be humble towards each other and not care about all the material things. There's so much more to it than that.
Well, I think that he's not, of course he's not really happy with what we're doing, but he would, but he still loves us, and he's like, hey, you know what, just try and be better. But I don't know, I think that he is disappointed.
So, after hearing a few street-level opinions on humility, let's see what the Bible has to say. Before we begin tonight's study, please take a moment to stand up and say hi to the people around you.